Hey Tom, this is a TVT versus Master X, and the description you gave me in the email was maybe if I had a bunker with frickin' laser beams on the top. That's great. So you're going one Marine command center, orbital, getting the second depot as quick as you can. You want to... It's not really important, but... Anyway, whatever. If it's not important, why say it? So you're going into 3 racks after this and getting the double gas. The emphasis on Marines is ridiculously important. You don't want to be trying to tech after a super fast expand. And getting double tech labs this early suspect, because now... I don't know. Let's see what you did, but I'm suspicious of this. It seems like you need more Marines, right? Okay, so let's look at these racks. When you take a fast expansion, you're relying on the efficiency of Marines versus anything a Terran player can throw at you to be your sole defense, right? So $3,000 of Marines can beat $4,000 of anything else, because Marines are crazy good, right? Marauders die horribly to Marines, Banshees die horribly to Marines, tanks die horribly to Marines as long as they have a reasonable split, or you catch them on siege and you have stim. Hellions die horribly to Marines, even Blue Flame Hellions, unless they have the +1 attack and you don't have combat shields, they die horribly now. So everything dies to Marines. The only thing he can make that's scary if you're making Marines is more Marines. So your goal here, when you fast expand into Marines, is to constantly use your racks, to never slip up on Marine production, to have a ton of Marines. So when you're playing against a one-base guy, you got to assume he's going to hit the benchmark. So you want to be within $500 of the benchmarks all the time. Get a general picture of what he's doing, and don't die to it. So pretty much, since he has to spend an entire minute walking across the field, and the budget in the early game is $500 a minute, that means he's going to be $500 behind if he walks across the field. So as long as you're within $500 of benchmark, you're immune to him. Even if he goes pure Marine and you go pure Marine, and he's one basing and you're two basing, so he's got $500 more than you, he still loses because he had to walk across the field. So as long as you keep these buildings constantly producing, that is 125, 125, 125. That's $375 a minute. That's not 500. It doesn't meet your quota. So even if you kept all 3 of these racks constantly producing Marines, you'd still not be safe. That's why when people 3 racks, they get 2 reactor cores, or 1 reactor core at least, right away. I like to 4 racks because then you don't need gas and you don't need any reactor cores. And if you're going Marine-centric, you really don't want gas. You need gas eventually, but you want to get all 4 of your Marines before you get 4 of your racks before you get gas, and then you want to just get 2 gas and start dumping gas into upgrades slowly, not quickly. So the double tech lab I dislike because what is it? It's not helping you. You're going to use it for combat shields eventually. But look at how idle those racks were. I mean, if we look from 430 on, completely idle racks. They're just not... I mean, they're building tech labs. Those aren't units. If he attacks you right now, you're not going to be like, good thing I have tech labs, you know? Tech labs, as far as units are concerned, they allow you to make Marauders, and Marauders are like the worst TVT unit unless he's going pure Hellion tank, which nobody does anymore because Hellions suck now. So if we look... He attacks you at 8 minutes, and we know that if he's one basing, he should theoretically have a $2,000 army at 10 minutes. And he doesn't, so he attacks you with, let's see. Okay, he does, but part of it is tied up in an unfinished upgrade. So as far as finished upgrades are concerned, he has an $1,800 army. He's spent $2,000, but he only has $1,800 in his real army. So he comes with a slightly under benchmark army, and in order to survive against this slightly under benchmark army, what you need to do is hit him before he sieges up, obviously. Have stim, obviously, which you don't. It's possible to finish stim at 7 minutes, by the way. But it's okay not to have stim. And most importantly, you have to have within $500 of his army size. So he's got 1,800, you've got 700. You've got slightly less than half his army size, and there's nothing you can do to win this fight now. So you need to see him coming from far enough away that you can prepare. You need to have an army that's big enough to kill his army. And then you need to have a good engagement that doesn't allow him to siege up and slow poke towards you. So he beats you on... Whoop. despite having the walk across the field $500 disadvantage, he just kind of crushes you. And now he's got siege tanks close to your thing. If he gets siege tanks in range of here, you completely lose. Your production at this point continues to be 375 per minute, which is terrible. His production is, by now, if he's spending every penny on his army, he's got a $1,000 a minute production. So, theoretically, if you both go into panic mode, neither of you makes any more SCVs, nobody makes any supply depots, and you dump every penny you can into infantry and nothing else. He is capable of spending 1,000, and you're only capable of spending 375. So there's basically nothing you can do as long as he doesn't make any huge mistakes. There's nothing you can do to win this. And that's just by virtue of the fact that you don't have an infrastructure to make Marines. You're kind of forced to make Marauders, because you do have an infrastructure to make Marauders, right? You're like, I need to get as much army as I possibly can right now. What do I have? Well, I have 2 Tech Lab racks, so I guess I'll make 2 Marauders. And that's the right choice in this situation, but you shouldn't have put yourself in this situation. So, in every matchup, TVZ, TVT, TVP, you always got to assume that your opponent is going to be strongest if he's one-basing at 7 to 8 minutes, and he's going to attack you at somewhere between 7 and 8 minutes. So you did see this attack coming in years in advance. You had plenty of warning. You knew it was coming. And you should have had $1,500 of infantry at this time. Actually, probably should have already caught up to 2,000. The fast expand 4 racks Marine, 500 bucks of Marines per minute into some upgrades. As soon as those upgrades finish, you have a reasonably larger army. So I think about 8 or 9 minutes is when you catch up. So you would have somewhere close to $2,000 of Marines right now if you did this properly. So your comment that if you had a bunker with frickin' laser beams, it's just incorrect. He would have just tank pushed you and killed the bunker. The answer to this is not a bunker. The answer to this is more Marines and later upgrades. So let me talk about what the build actually should be. Right? You throw down this quick command center, and now you're going to go up 2 more racks. You make depot immediately, constant Marine production, 2 more racks. And then you get the orbital on your second dude, and then you throw down the 4th racks, and then after you've got all 4 racks, you start a production of 4 Marines, and then you throw down the double gas. And the point of delaying the double gas that long is that you, in order to have $500 a minute of Marine production, as well as $200 a minute of depot production, right? As well as $250 a minute of SCV production, that adds up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 950 minerals a minute. So you have to have an income of 950 a minute. That means at least 22 SCVs mining minerals, as well as one mule, or 20 SCVs and 2 mules. So, if we look, at a time where you're not fully saturated on minerals yet, you're already pulling guys off of minerals. You can't be doing this. You need those minerals for the Marines. You don't have enough money, literally. There's no way for you to get 8 Marines per minute, as well as 2 depots per minute, as well as 2 SCVs every 17 seconds. So it's no wonder that your army is small. You just got gas too early. You need 16 guys mining minerals, and then the next 2 guys go make gas. And it's even later than that, actually. You probably shouldn't be mining gas until you have 20 total mineral dudes. So, and you can figure stuff out like this. Like, if you want to change your build, you can figure stuff like this out with just a calculator, man. You say, how much money do I want per minute of minerals? And we already said that we want 950, right? So we divide this by 40. That's how many SCVs you need. You need 24 SCVs mining. And you can subtract 8 because you have 2 mules and say, hey, I only really need 16 guys to mine minerals, and then as long as I have 2 mules going, I'm fine. And if we look, you have 15, so you don't have quite enough. So you have 950 a minute now at 6 minutes, but you don't have the 4 racks that you need to use them. So anyway, you were so close to having the right amount of money to do what you wanted to do. It's just that you didn't make the 4th racks. You got 2 tech labs. You got gas tiny bit too early. You got an engineering bay, which is more money that you're taking out of the $950 a minute that you have. So now at 6.5 minutes, you have more money than you would need to make 4 Marines at a time. So you should be able to comfortably make 4 Marines at a time, as well as get upgrades, as well as get extra depots if you need them, get an extra racks if you want it, get an extra factory if you want it, take additional gas, get turrets. All the things you want to do, you can now do them because you have more than the 950 a minute that you require to make 4 Marines at a time. So with 1 mule you need 20 dudes. Mining minerals. With 2 mules you only need 16, and you need to not be spending money on anything else. You can't make turrets, you can't make the engineering bay, you can't make blah blah blah. So you should easily be able to make those turrets and engineering bay and stuff after you've got more than the minimum number of guys mining minerals. So make more racks or get a reactor core. 4 Marines a minute means 1 reactor core on one of these racks or an extra racks. Pick one of those two. You don't need 4 racks if you don't want 4 racks, but you need at least a reactor core if you're not going to get the 4th racks. And then, your engagement was kind of silly. You saw him coming miles in advance, and you waited at the top of your ramp, and he gets to the top of your ramp and sieges up and kills you. And it's like, if you see siege tanks coming, you have to meet them in midfield so they don't get a chance to siege up. So you pull the appropriate response. There's probably no way you beat this force, right? I'm okay with you losing because you didn't have an army. There's nothing you can do with no army against the S army. But you know he's coming right now, so that you've got this many Marines, which is not enough really to kill him. But you have to try, because the only way that you win this is to come down here and set up a big line of Marines here and a bunch of SCVs in front of it. Wait until he just barely comes into your vision. You're staying just out of watchtower range, and then just go in with all your SCVs and all your Marines and kill him. And you're 10 SCVs ahead. So if you lose 10 SCVs and kill his army, you just came out ahead. You're fine now, because you have a bigger infrastructure, you have a bigger economy, and you're just going to do well in the transition. He's stuck on 1 base, and he's stuck on 24 workers, and if you kill this push, you win the game. So pull SCVs, pull Marines, get a good engagement out somewhere that he's not expecting to fight so that he doesn't pre-siege, and just stomp him. And that would have been that. So, yeah. That is all I have to say about that, because I'm Forrest Gump.